Thank you. I'm now joined by Afku Shart. She is the Senior Vice President for Global Government Affairs at Huawei. Afka is responsible for global engagement with international organizations in domains such as sustainability, digital inclusion, and business ethics. She was an MP in the Netherlands from 2010 to 2012, and she focused on matters of economic affairs, technology, innovation, export, regional and business location policy. She's also had senior roles at GMSA and at Microsoft. So welcome to the summit, Afku. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much. Such a pleasure to joining you.
So we've been talking a lot at the summit about the conditions required to sort of build the most powerful ecosystems for innovation to thrive. We've talked about the importance of mission-based innovation, particularly when many stakeholders come together. You know, the COVID pandemic has been a great example where industry, governments, and corporations have collaborated very, very powerfully to make rapid discoveries, rapid innovation. I wondered if you could just outline Huawei's approach to innovation. Obviously, you're a relatively young company, extremely rapid growth and rapid technological advancement. What's your sort of mission and the approach to innovation at Huawei?
Yeah, thank you for that question. So myself, I'm based in Shenzhen, and that's like the Silicon Valley of China. And I'm here just for 8 months, and I'm amazed by the pace of innovation, of technological innovation that I'm seeing here, that a company like Huawei is trying to roll out globally. And I think, working for Huawei is quite amazing, because I think half of our workforce is actually dedicated in R&D, so I think half of the people are in jobs, working in R&D. So every week I see lots of innovations coming out. This week it was all about cars, and we also do a lot in the solar space, for data centers. So how do we cool water? And it's just continuously, and that's super exciting. And you see that we're quite successful in exporting our products all over the world. And I think most people know Huawei as a company for 5G and cybersecurity and all that stuff. But we have such a broad range of products, and it's just endless. And I think it's because when we were founded by Mr. Ren, it's indeed quite a young company, only 20, 30 years ago. He put a lot of focus on R&D. So that's really one of the main values, and it's at the corporate heart of this company. So and that is paying off, and also you see that in a, for us, difficult time, that because we have put so much focus on R&D and innovation, that we've still been able to grow our revenues this year.
Thank you. I have to say, I've been to Shenzhen, I've been to the Huawei headquarters, and of course we are working with Sustech University on a future innovation summit. We'll actually be holding this summit in Shenzhen in a couple of years' time. So it's been extraordinary to see that region, the whole of the Greater Bay Area actually, down there in around Hong Kong and Shenzhen, absolutely exploding as a global center for innovation. Your role there is in global government affairs. I wonder, a lot of the conversations at this event so far have focused on the sort of government policy agenda. We've had Paul Perrault, who's the chief executive of the biotech company CSL, talking about the challenges of short-termism in government, the regular turnover of politicians with different missions and priorities, making it very hard for corporates to work out who to partner with in terms of universities. We heard from Mariana Mazzucato, the economist, talking about the UK government's insecurity over its industrial strategy, the need for stability from government. What's your sense of, having worked all over the world in terms of the government policy agenda, what can they do to create the right environment for innovation to thrive? Obviously China has a very particular sort of big government position, but of course you've worked in Europe, where the philosophy might be more small, less interventionist government. What's your position around how governments can best create the environment for change and innovation?
Yeah, for me, it's all about keeping it the ecosystem open and make it possible for people to innovate and to have as less rules as possible, especially in the first phases. So, and I see that here in China, remarkably, the ecosystem is actually in a way governed by Chinese municipalities, regions, but also the national government in a way that is actually sort of well, focusing a lot on competition and making that possible. So it's a quite competitive space out here. And also the dedication and focus that people put in here, trying to be successful, and also the importance of failing and starting all over again. So that's very much embedded in this society. And coming from Europe myself, and being in the mobile industry for quite long, I felt that the pace of innovation is something that worries me a lot. Also, one of the reasons why I wanted to come here to see, how it's organized here. Because when you have to deal as a company, also for Huawei, with so many different regulatory authorities, regulatory regimes, just look at the rollout of 5G. That's not harmonized. You have different options in different countries, different conditions, on and on. And that's only for the rollout of 5G, but for everything, it's just a completely different ecosystem, different government system that you need to work with. And especially for bigger corporates, but that's also for telecom players, it's kind of hard to understand, and you have to put a lot of people like me in positions to deal with government affairs, to have a bit of an understanding of all the rules and regulations that are all over the place. And I feel that in other countries, like in the US and in China, of course, with big dominant regions, that gives them a bit of an advantage. And I'm just a little bit worried that because of the systems and the slowness of putting the regulations and to implement and in the member states is a bit. Well, it's harming innovation, and it's also perhaps leading to a brain drain. And I think we lose a lot of great talents by not having a fantastic innovative ecosystem in place in countries in Europe. But that's of course my personal opinion.
And it's probably worth reflecting, of course, on geopolitics. You talk about the importance of competition, that innovation thrives on competition. Of course, we're seeing trade wars, we're seeing some really restrictive activity in terms of trade, and Huawei is often at the forefront of some of those geopolitical tensions. How are you seeking to navigate that and make the case for more open competition in this area? It's obviously a very challenging area for you.
Yeah, you have been in Shenzhen, and probably you have been visiting our headquarters here. And when you walk around in our offices, you see that we have such a dedication and such a love for Europe. That's actually where the Huawei success story started. So it was actually in a few capitals like the UK and in the Netherlands where Huawei was able to help building 3G infrastructure. And we were able to compete with other with our competitors, which are not that many actually, only 2, 3, 4 worldwide. And we made sure that the prices were low for our customers, which is also beneficial for the consumers in the end, of course. So we were able to help to the success of the mobile industry in Europe, giving great competition and good prices and service to our customers and consumers. But now, of course, we're in a completely different world. We're in the middle of a global tech war with the US. And that is, of course, very harmful for our business, but especially to the business in Europe. And that is a shame, because we have been super successful in the last 20 years, and we've been able to help with 3G, 4G, 5G. But we're also, as I said before, working in so many other manufacturing industries, and there's so much products and services that we can bring to Europe that we all can benefit from, and the wider Western world. And yeah, it's a shame that because of our success, because that's what I personally think is the background of this. There's just a sort of competition going on. Who will be the winner in the end when it comes to technological innovation. And yeah, when you're here, you just see how fantastic it all is, and how agile and how customer focused we are. So I think there's probably a reason why the US is so afraid of what we're trying to bring to our customers and consumers. And it's really a shame, and I think especially our European customers are missing out a lot, because just being here, as I said before, being in Shenzhen, where you have driverless cars, where you have a lot of focus on green new technologies, it's already happening. It's not something that we will have in 2, 3, 4 years, or 5 years, or 10 years from now. It's already happening in all the main capitals here in China. So, and I think leaving us out and making us not part of the competition, creates actually a duopoly in most countries, which is just harmful for competition. And yeah, it's not any benefits for consumers worldwide. And in the end, it's also all our new innovative products, especially in the area of green, it would be really a shame to miss on that.
Yeah, it's interesting. You talked about the tech war, and I noticed the UK put the sort of movement for technological advancement as at the heart of its new foreign policy. It does appear that China is very much winning the war for things like AI, for example. I know their share of publications and peer-reviewed journals, for example, now massively outstrips that of the whole of the EU and of America. Is there something that China's doing right there? Is it all about investment? Is it really about public funding for universities, for example? What's helping China win this war as it stands at the moment in terms of technological advancement, particularly in fields like AI?
Yeah, I'm not so sure. I'm definitely not an expert, and as you know, we are an employee-owned company at Huawei, so we do everything on our own, and which we have been doing for 20 years or so. But of course, there's a strong tech sector here in China, which we are competing with here domestically as well. And and because we have such a developed R&D ecosystem here at Huawei, we've been able to work on so many AI products for so long already, and we are able to just help roll them out in many companies and in many countries already. So, for example, we help a lot in African countries when it comes to agriculture, using AI to make sure when the crops are ready to be harvested, that they can do that. That they don't have to just go there every day and every night to see if it's the right time. But with the use of our technology, it can really make their harvest, the quality, much better, and really help also the smaller entrepreneurs, the SMEs, to do well. But there are so many examples of AI, and I think it's also important to note, because we also want to make sure that technology is, of course, for good. That's one of our core principles and our core values. So we really want to make this place a better place for everyone, for our companies and for our consumers, and our partners that we work with. So we also have some principles in place already for quite some long, on how we make sure that AI is only used in a way that it would be a force for good, and that that it's not harmful. Of course, there's some big discussions around AI and ethics, and that's part of the role that I'm involved in as well. So that's all just very interesting from a tech perspective, and I think it's something that as an industry we really need to be paying a lot of attention to. It's also super exciting to see all the developments in this space. But I just want to, make sure to let you know that we have already those AI ethics in place, and we live by those high standards every day. And we also make sure that our partners also, follow and comply with those rules.
Let's talk a little bit about risk. I know that Huawei invests massively in R&D. It has huge resources and researchers driving forward innovation, but you also work with universities. A big commitment that you have, I think it's something in the region of $300 million a year, goes into blue skies research funded with universities, funded in an open way through the scientific literature. What's driving that, your desire to work with the universities when presumably you could just power forward innovation within your own R&D spend? Why do you work with universities?
Yeah, I think that's also part of the culture of Huawei. So I've been only working here in Shenzhen for Huawei 7 months, and it feels very academic. So our working culture is very much based on academical research. We want to make sure that we work with universities to also test what we think would be good. And I think we work with over 300 universities at this very moment. And I think that's it's so important. And as I said before, half of our people work in R&D. So most people that work for Huawei are also academically qualified. So and that just continues to be an important part of the job when you work in a company like Huawei. So we as we are in this world of technological innovation, we cannot do that on our own, even though we have such a big workforce, almost 90,000 people working for R&D. So we really need the support and also the innovation from other universities we really want to work in partnership. So together with universities, with government, with the private sector, I think really that is the future, and that's always been in the DNA from Huawei. So very important to continue that, and I'm sure that we will continue this dedication in this field for long.
Thank you. And one of the themes that's coming up at this event as well has been around the importance of social sciences and arts and humanities. Obviously, there's a sense that the response to COVID has been a triumph of science, but a triumph of STEM subjects. But of course, more and more we're looking at how we tackle the world's grand challenges, things like climate change, where human behavior is important, where how people respond to new technology is important. In terms of AI, for example, as well, the sense of who we are as people. Does Huawei have a sense that we need to keep supporting and perhaps even fund arts and humanities and social science research? Is that part of your remit?
Well, we do have a big interest in that, because not a lot of people know, but we have a very huge consumer business with earphones, televisions, consumer goods. So we have a lot of interest in, of course, humanities and social sciences, and we are more and more involved in that part as well. But also, as you said, on climate, for example. So how do our products, perform under different conditions, and so forth and so forth. So it's really a broad range of issues that we tackle. And as said, we work with a broad range of universities all across the globe. And digital economy, I would say, is one of our newest topics that involve a lot of humanities and social sciences topics. That we are involved in with different universities and also consultancies around the world.
Thank you. And I wondered if we could perhaps also talk about the public good, where a lot of the topic of this is around impact, making sure that we have a positive impact on society. We have the Times Higher Impact Rankings, of course, which focus on how universities are delivering the Sustainable Development Goals right across the whole spectrum of SDGs. Huawei, you've made quite a powerful commitment to, for example, green technology and environmental work to help tackle the climate crisis. What's your sense as a corporate of your responsibility to support a green future?
Oh yeah, we do so much in that space, and it's really, really amazing. And I really hope that a lot of people can come to Shenzhen and to other places where we have our projects underway. So, for example, in a desert here in the south of, no, it's actually in the north of China. We have been working with some farmers over there, and we've put our solar panels there, and we are growing goji berries. So it was really a deserted place, and now it's turning into an oasis, where people actually pick the fruits from having a very sustainable and then very profitable business. So that's just one of the examples. Another example that I would like to inform you of, and that's really an exciting one, is that we also are quite involved in projects around biodiversity. So one of those is with rainforests and a company called Rainforest Connection, where we use AI and where we actually hang mobile phones in the forest to record sounds to make sure that people with less good intentions that are coming to the rainforest that we can inform the rangers so that they can track them down and that they can make sure that the rainforest keeps in good condition. And then these projects also learn us, for example, in this specific case that was in the Philippines, a lot of new voices were recorded. So we're also, working on making sure that species that we are not even aware of, that we are not that are not known, that this project is also making sure that we can help support with that as well. So another project that we do is where we record the sound of whales, and that is then brought into a composition of some music that people can enjoy. So there's a lot of examples where we work with other partners and also projects that we do internally that bring good to the public, and I think really that's the only solution to having a more sustainable world is with the use of technology, and that's where technology can be such a strong and such an important force.
Thank you. And perhaps I could wrap up, because we're coming to the end of our time here, perhaps to talk about gender. Obviously, you're a very senior executive there in one of the world's leading tech companies. And you wrote recently a blog, I think, around International Women's Day about the importance of promoting women in technology. Is there a sense that perhaps the dominance of men and the gender imbalances in the industry could potentially inhibit and limit the actual innovation that we're capable of as a society? What's your sense there?
Yes, definitely. And I think, there's a lot of biases that we are not even aware of. And there's a lot of inequality still, even when you think of the use of mobile phones, for example, there's still a big gender gap there where women, own much less phones in this world than men do. So it's of course then also, connected to financial independence. So there's a lot of work to be done there in a global scale. But when you talk about female leadership in a company like Huawei, so I think I'm very proud to have noticed that there's a lot of issues that Western companies are dealing with, like pay inequalities and so forth, or having difficulties in attracting young females in STEM topics. That's not so much an issue here. So we have a lot of female researchers and a lot of female executives here in this company. So I'm really proud of that. But we really want to help also, to make sure that where we come and with our partners, that we just make sure that we help bridging the gender gap, and that can be with very small things. You can try to mentor people around you, but you can also make sure that you will not organize yourself myself any male-dominated panels only. So it's little steps, but I'm actually quite amazed and impressed by the level of gender equality here at Huawei.
And of course, I think role models really do matter. And you've pointed out some of the great pioneers of computing have been women over the years, and obviously
Yes.
leading by example yourself.
Yeah, it's a bit odd actually, because the first coders were female, and they actually came from the US and China mostly, and were very much interested in coding technology, but also in space. But then men were not that interested and didn't find that probably not. Worthwhile enough at the time, and then when they saw the importance, and then they got involved and pushed away the ladies basically, and now it's time to make sure that we balance that out again. And yeah, it's really impressive. And if you look in that, if you really go into and research that a little bit, it's there's a lot of fantastic role models out there, and and I think that's just part of trying to make this world a better place for everyone, and technology can definitely help with that.
Well, thank you. That's a very positive and strong, powerful note to end on. So we've reached the end of our time, but Afke Shart, thank you very much indeed for your time. Thank you.